Hello and welcome back, everybody. So this beautiful, stunning, amazing, glorious movie released March 4th, 2022, 2 years ago. And now in 2 years, in October, we'll be getting a sequel. Now, in my opinion, the new take on Batman in the movie was just perfect and what was needed. And the leading part in this new idea and take on the infamous character was the studio's choice of villain. A gritty, more realistic serial killing villain, of course being the Riddler.
This, Batman, what is long, hard, and has come in the middle? A penis. No, the answer is cucumber!
And now, of course, everyone has been theorizing and bringing up new ideas for who the next main villain in the Batman 2 will be. And quickly, yes, of course, this video exists.
The reason that Joker's in the movie is there was actually another, and this killer in this story is not yet the character that we come to know, right? So everybody's in their kind of infancy.
But if Matt Reeves actually chooses the Joker as the next main villain in the Batman 2, man, will I be disappointed right alongside many other people. There are so many better ideas that would fit so much better than the Joker in the next movie. We don't need another Joker just yet. Maybe later on, he can narrate throughout the movie, bringing us throughout the events, whatever. But for the next film, we need a new take on another famous villain. We need more exposure for these other villains in Batman's World Gallery, which is one of the best of any media. I mean, definitely better than Marvel.
Oh my god, bro.
Don't get too mad. And I've heard some good ones. Of course, the biggest one mentioned online would be Mr. Freeze, who would probably work really well. But in my opinion, the best choice if they're going for a scarier vibe would be Croc, aka of course Waylon Jones. Imagine how terrifying but also cool this would be. Bruce dredging through the sewers, being constantly stalked by this mutated and mutilated crocodile man. And we could see also the birth of Killer Croc and how he came to be, and how Waylon Jones suffered to get where he is now at the time of the movie, because he is one of the saddest villains. Anyways, this universe has so much potential to show the creations of many of Batman's rogue galleries in a more realistic and gritty way. As Bruce, in the time of the first movie, was still quite early on in his career as the Dark Knight. I think if I remember, it's 3 years in, but I'll have to look it up. I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong, but damn, that would be so good. But of course, the other side of the media is wanting to see the more Bruce side of the characters, which Victor would definitely pair with more. Seeing how Bruce can fight injustice and villainy in Gotham, rather than guns out Batman like usual. To me, that could be great. But as I hear more and more people argue and dispute who it should be, I just thought, why not both? So to better explain this, what if we see Bruce fighting Freeze with a legal system, or just as Bruce? And whilst all this is happening during the day, once it finally turns night, Batman retreats down to the sewers to deal with Killer Croc, a new threat. So throughout the movie, we can see both sides of the character. To me, that would be so sick, and just seeing this fan-made poster, man, I want it so bad. But the biggest thing to me is to not have the Joker introduced this early. If he's a terrible Joker, it would ruin the franchise or at least damage it. Not that I think Barry Keoghan's Joker will be bad at all. His design that we've seen so far is pretty sick and pretty fitting. But again, I don't feel we need another Joker right now, especially with how strong they've begun this new universe, with its unique take on these villains. As well as this, it would benefit Reeves to keep going with the crime family aspect he's been able to play into so strongly in the first movie. And he's already begun because the Penguin show is going to be releasing this September in 2024. This way, we can have a little more taste in the Reeves-verse before the movie comes out to hold us over until then. But getting back to it, having a crime family aspect in the universe creates another more realistic connection to our world, seeing more Falcone and the other groups. But who else in DC is so connected to the crime family world, I ask? Sadistic, evil, a villain could have more realistic side to him. And no, don't say hush, who...
My disappointment is immeasurable.
I'll talk about it a bit later. But Black Mask. He's just an evil with a skull mask and a hell of a lot of money and ties to the criminal underworld. Seeing Mask pulling strings in the background of the movie would be great. He would be able to test Bruce to new limits, mentally and physically. I personally think seeing Roman Sionis would be awesome. And he could also be another villain that Bruce could be fighting, not necessarily as Batman, but as Mr. Wayne, dealing with Sionis Industries and their shady business. And as Sionis poses a normal on the outside, legally fighting Bruce, he would try and exact revenge on him at night, as the Black Mask. But guess who's there to stop him? The Big Bat. Now, his appearance in the Suicide Squad movie, not this one. Yeah, this one. Remember it? Well, anyways, his appearance in it, in my opinion, was just not my favorite. No hate to Ewan, I'm as big of a Star Wars fan as it gets. he did well with what he was told. And right alongside this, the other failures in the movie, it didn't pan out to make a good movie, and it shows. But that movie, in my opinion, was a bit too overhated. Fight me, but whatever. But anyways, though his character in almost all renditions is usually always just a mob boss who's pretty much just nuts, they never go deep into his psychology enough. Besides seeing him torture a bunch of people, I think Pattinson and Reeves could do a great job portraying Black Mask as a more, let's say, realistic crime boss in Gotham, right alongside Penguin. But not too close to how he was portrayed in Suicide Squad, because to me, he was too out there, and it just wouldn't work with the Reevesverse. He needs to be more secluded and dark. But, of course, how we see him in the Arkham games. Now that could work. But again, we don't see all too much of him in the Arkhamverse to say. I mean, a DLC in Night, and even though he was a large protagonist in Origins, we barely see him, as he was taken over by the Joker. But just like how Riddler was changed to more match the vibe and realism of Batman, and they could do the same with Black Mask. And now, before I get to Hush, which I know you guys are waiting for, I just wanted to go over two villains many of you have thought of for the Batman 2 pretty quick, that aren't so human. Croc and Clayface. Now, Clayface to me could work, but there's really only two options for how it could go. Either try break off from the realism and make a more monstrous, maybe toned down version of him with his regular powers. Or they stay in the lane of realism and just make him have an extremely horrible skin condition that maybe makes his skin almost look of clay and make him a crime boss, regular murderer, etc. You get what I mean. Maybe kind of Jack the Ripper-ish. But they could also portray his acting career in its downward spiral with him dealing with his condition. So it could work both ways, but of course, there's also Croc. All I can say is holy fuck, that would be so sick. Realism or not, hunting the bat in the sewers would be so sick. Anyways, I of course wanted to talk about Hush, who is the fans' biggest ask besides Freeze and Clayface. Hush could absolutely work. And taking from the Game Theorist video, the character Barry Keoghan portrays in the extra credit scene of the Batman could also just be Hush after his skin surgeries, who, if you haven't heard of or don't know a lot about Hush in the DC universe, before he's pretty much just, in most renditions, Bruce's childhood friend, Thomas Elliot, who's an adult, grafts skin to his face to look more like Bruce so that he can ruin his life that way. All stemming from his childhood trauma, so like pretty much everyone else in the DC universe and in Gotham. So yes, it could work. And again, like Matt Pat states, Bruce and Elliot are very close in age, unlike Joker and Bruce, and the actors' ages would match up in favor of Hush and Bruce being the antagonist and protagonist in the sequel. And Hush as a villain would obviously work in the Reeveverse, a more realistic murderer targeting various people and so forth, like we see in some of the other appearances of his. Now, this is a bit off course, but the Holiday Killer we see in the Long Halloween film, which is animated, but if you get to see it, holy shit, you need to go see it. But anyways, Hush could be portrayed more similar to the Holiday Killer, and I think that could work great. Getting personal with high-class kills on high-class people could set Batman down on a downward spiral and giant goose chase throughout the film. If told well, it could make for a really compelling sequel, which I think will be the case for the Batman 2, which I personally am so excited for and can't wait. And we'll definitely be watching The Penguin, which from the trailer looks pretty damn good. I can't wait to get deeper into Gotham, rather than us just seeing the outside with Batman fighting crazy giant villains with crazy out-of-this-planet powers. Finally, we're getting a real look into Gotham's deep underworld and streets, and no, this is not sponsored, but hey, I mean, I'm open to whatever. Anyways, all I'm saying is just I'm so hyped to finally see some good live-action Batman content. It's been a bit, but even though I went through a plethora of different villains and plot lines, what do you guys think will happen in the Batman 2? Because no matter what, I trust Reeves in the Reevesverse. Let me know down below your thoughts on all of this video. I know it's kind of unorganized, but all I can say now is no Joker. Thanks.